Hey everybody, this is PD from the Spinner Rack, and it's Christmas, and I'm doing a versus DC versus Marvel. This is a 1981 Marvel Holiday Christmas Special versus the 89, oh, was it 88? Sorry, 88 Christmas with the Superheroes. They both are a wraparound cover. They're one by Arthur Adams, which is a little more action packed. Right, Chasing Santa Claus. And then the DC. This one, Arthur Adams. This one is by Byrne. A little more low-key Christmas. Will that be a testament to the stories? I don't know. So, oh my goodness. What an earthquake happened. Sorry. So, let's go through this one. Let's do the Marvel one. This one I know. I didn't know I was going to be able to find this one in time, right? So we have a Dave Cockrum X-Men fill-in, right? This actual short story by Scott Lobdell and Dave Cockrum. And wow, he's looking, this is 89. I think he could have came back to the X-Men if he wanted to, because this looks pretty good, right? They're set in a tree, but Cerebro detects some mutants. So the X-Men go out there to Rockefeller Center where Scott's going to be. And they're looking for the evil mutants, but the evil mutants spot them first. But then we see Banshee runs into Eunice, the Untouchable, and it's an all-out brawl. And Nightcrawler takes out the Toad. Colossus and the Banshee having a hard time with the Blob. Wolverine goes after Eunice. And then Storm takes out, who's that, Mastermind. But Santa Claus comes and turns them into, I said, hood ornaments. And the first time I tried this actual Christmas ornaments, and then sends them back where they should be. And this issue fits in right before they run into Scott in X-Men 98, right? So then we have a Walter Simonson tale with Arthur Adams and Al Milgrom. They're doing the story of Franklin with Sue Richards, and Franklin wants a Christmas ornament with the ninja crocodiles, ex-mutant killer crocodiles, right? He sees other cool stuff, but then he runs off from his mother and he gets lost. Gets totally lost, and then he finds a ghost in the alley. It says he's dressed funny, but he just sees him as a man, right? And he can see through him, but he's saying, this guy's chained up, so he needs to find a key. And he's like, oh, I found a key, right? And he has a little bit of money for a quarter, but this is the money he wants to use to buy the ornament, the Christmas ornament, right? But no, he already bought it. So he uses the Christmas ornament to buy the key, right? And then then Sue is looking for him and just about to find him. He goes up to, I guess this is Marley, right? From the Scrooge story. The key opens up and frees him, right? So Sue's happy she found her son. They go back. He gave him a present for his father, so he's like, hey, he gives it to his father, and it actually has the Christmas ornament in it, right? Kind of like the Christmas in Hollis, the letter from Santa, the doors for me, but there's a shilling that goes to his father from 1843, which would be very expensive. All right, so we got two great stories so far, and then some pinups. Then we have a Stephen Grant, Klaus Janson Punisher story. Now, Stephen Grant was the guy who did the first Punisher miniseries, which was a huge success. And Klaus Janson, the guy who did the regular series, the first 6 issues, and that was a huge success. I would concentrate on those backgrounds. Like, good Lord. Like, this sort of thing he's doing with the backgrounds is just brilliant, right? I love his mood lighting. He's a good sense of color. I'm not sure if he's coloring this, but he also has a good sense of color. And Punisher goes after these crooks. When they see him, they think it's a setup, so he has to take these guys out. Obviously, the Punisher is no joke, right? And they shoot him, of course. At the same time, they almost go die to their death. But at the same time, money drops to the people, and the Punisher walks off. So we've got 3 classic tales and some pinups. Then we have a Tom DeFalco and Sal Buscema story. Right? Looks like an old Viking type story. Right? And while they're chilling, they run into this beast. Thor is able to stop the creature, and the woman's wishes are fulfilled, and Odin takes on the look of what's the name? Santa. We have a Ron Friends Plaid Olaf Thor. Then we got some classic shots. That's actual Christmas shot. That's from what is it? Marvel Comics Presents 18. Then we have some made up one from Karen Dwyer. This is a classic one. Obviously, this is a new one. And then we have a Len Kaminsky and Ron Lim story. Doing the Captain America story where he's checking in on something from the past, connected to Bucky. And he gives her something from Bucky. And this is actually Bucky's sister. And he gives her a momentum. So many have tried to figure out. I think Byrne actually wanted to show Bucky as a wounded vet. Byrne and Stern, they came up with that, and they decided not to. And Cap's is thinking about going. And they have him a part of Christmas. And Cap and Diamondback, they should have stayed together. And this one is by Howard Mackie, and I'm not sure who. Some art I don't know, but it's a Ghost Rider story. And Howard Mackie was Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. So we get the artist I don't know, but it looks interesting. It's a little it doesn't strong on the angles, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. And then Captain Ultra. I can't defend Captain Ultra. We're just going to quickly go through it. All right, so it's kind of petering out. But then we have a Danny Fingeroth and Ron Garney story with Mike's artist, Mike DiCarlo, doing inks. So Ron Garney used to be one of my faves. He does Berserker now. This is early Ron Garney, getting more of an anatomically correct Spider-Man, right? So even at this early stage, he was really good, right? So yeah, this one, even though they have a lot of newbies, this looks pretty interesting too, right? fights are cool. Yeah, he had it even back then, right? Yeah, Merry Christmas from Marvel, right? So it's kind of hard to beat. You got Art Adams, Dave Cockrum, Klaus Janson, Ron Garney, who would turn into fan. You got an Art Adams cover. So we start. Whoa, okay. We got a Denny O'Neil and Frank Miller Batman. I think this is his first Batman before the Dark Knight. So started with a bang, right? And this is when they show Frank Miller Batman in a trade. This is one of the stories they put in. I think the star was stolen in the start of this story, but Batman has other things to take care of. Yes, he's checking on something else going on in the Gotham Harbor. So he's shaking down these guys, and because they send the men in, Batman makes short work of them, right? And Mighty Lasco tries to punch, but he has no effect on Batman, right? So Batman's going on doing a little undercover work, and he helps out this woman helping out the people. But at the same time, the Santa's being used against his will, right? He's being forced to open up the department store and all this other stuff. And once they get in, they shoot at the what's the name? Well, Batman hears the shots. He's right on time. And it's pretty much, if you like Miller's Daredevil, this is classic Miller stuff. When he had a lot of Gil Kane in his art. So he started off with a bang. Like, that's really a bang. Right? So they stop the crooks, but the star's still going. And Batman's like telling Boomer to go home. Right? So the next story, we have Superman and Batman and Justice League. This is by Dick Dillon. And this starts off with a bang too. And Dick Dillon is a classic Justice League of America artist. And he can seemingly shift from his older work to something that's in between what Neil Adams does, that sort of thing. Add some touches in it. Not the same, but just add some flourishes in the lighting, right? So we see Santa and who murdered Santa Claus. So they're going for the jugular here in the DC book, right? So they call in the Justice League. And a lot of them are doing other things. But we will get Ali and Black Canary. We know they were coming. And for some reason, Hal's getting out the tub and slips on some soap. It's knocked out. So they get John Stewart. So, and obviously we have the Red Tornado, who's a favorite, right? They don't believe who he is, the black Green Lantern. So the ring tells them, and of course they listen now, right? So Batman has been doing some investigation. So they're going out and figure out things, right? But besides this mystery of who shot Santa, I'm just going to quickly go through this. There's another important thing that happens in this issue. All right, so it's a classic kind of Justice League thing, and classic kind of adversaries that they run into, and traps, and that sort of stuff. And even the Phantom Stranger comes in to help. Right? And John Stewart is, of course, a big part of it, but they have a Christmas gift for the Red Tornado, and he gets his new costume. Right? So, and now we have a Teen Titans story by Nick Cardy, script by Bob Haney. Right now, I don't know if you know Nick Cardy, but this guy, he can move in between exaggeration and realism almost with ease. So we have this sort of Ebenezer Scrooge property shot and this sort of panels, right? And then we're going to slowly turn into the realism, right? And I guess when I get to the end, I'll get to that tidbit, right? So, though, this is like a regular issue, so we see the exaggeration here. The Titans slip into the story, right? And has the kids feel of how kids in my neighborhood used to ride on the back of a bus or something like that sort of thing. All right, and the Justice League and people fighting and the angle panels. So much good stuff in here, right? He's like one of the best artists out, right? And that's saying something with all the people I've shown you so far, right? And we have this crook that comes to the Scrooge house, right? And he's about to get hurt, but the Teen Titans come in and see how it's moving from the cartoony to almost the realism, even though it works perfectly in his style. Like, he is really good, right? So, and Scrooge is talking about calling the police on from the Titans, so they run away. And then right here, for the story getting a little more serious, we see how he totally shifts into like sort of realism, almost like photorealism, right? Not the Neil Adams kind of realism, but you know, and that's not a negative term. And then we have the last ghost that comes for Ebenezer Scrooge going to his past and him having to see it. So it's almost with superhero story with a classic retelling, but then we have Wonder Girl coming here, and boy, for some reason she's stacked in this thing, right? And it's actually not a ghost, it's actually some crooks, and the Titans getting involved. Obviously, I don't know, I'm not going to say this. I am going to say it. Wonder Girl, who should be more powerful than most of them, is kind of the damsel in distress. The action, it's almost like people say Marvelization. He has Marvel-like abilities as far as action and exaggeration, right? This is some heavy stuff. Right? And the action and the panel layout, like I think we've seen Byrne do this. We also have Alan Davis, but Nick Cardy kind of pulls out all the stops for this, right? And they stop the crooks, and then we have our close. So we're like, it's gonna be hard to beat this portion of the story. We got two great artists, and this third one just kind of really cleans up. Whoa, now we're blown away. Now we have a Legion story done by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, right? And Superboy does his classic travel through time with ease, which suggests more power than necessary. So I wish he would use the time bubble, but back in the Silver and Bronze Age, they used to travel through time with not initially. Initially, they weren't able to, and for story reasons, they allowed him to do this, right? So he goes there, runs into Mon-El. So the other thing is that, like Paul Levitt, he likes to suggest more Legionnaires than normal. So we start seeing Mon-El. We start to see the team that's going to be available for this issue. So we have Phantom Girl, and then we have Saturn Girl there, and then we see some of the other ones celebrating. We got Princess Projector, Karate Kid, and Sunboy, home in Japan celebrating. We have some Titans all over. So it's like hinting that they're all over doing stuff. But Wildfire shows up with Saturn Girl, and is there anyone else? And Lightning Lad is there, right? So this is a kind of great kind of dynamic for the Legion. Kind of 5 people at a time, and then you hint to where the rest of the people are. So the way this book is done is really nice. It's really easy to follow the Legion. It always you kind of get lost in these current books because they try to have too many characters and one artist can write and or draw. But this is a nice, cool story with 5 Legionnaires handling the main story, right? And nice, kind of like any of these shots could be like posters, right? So they save the day, of course, and everyone else in these lands are doing well, and some Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, right? So now we have the mainstay, the Master. This is the Swanderson period. The Bronze Age was good for the Swanderson period. This is Superman versus the Toyman, right? And he takes this kid to fortress, but actually, the kid has something with kryptonite, right? And he didn't know that his toy had kryptonite, right? But so it was actually the Toyman that set it up. We have all these. It's almost like the what's the thing? Yeah, it's like the the dwarves. They come in and help Superman, and it's actually not dwarves, it's elves, it's Santa Claus. They're the ones that helped him. Superman's, no, I got to get things done, right? And we see them working on toys, and it's pretty cool, right? And Superman goes after the Toyman. So he's like, Toyman sends all his toys after him. Superman's like, I gotta take them all out. He's kind of struggling with them. Superman says that there's like kryptonite in each of them, right? And then some other toys come in from Santa Claus to help Superman fight them, right? And they stop Toyman. Then Superman helps giving Christmas gifts, right? And Santa says Merry Christmas to Superman. Then this last tale is Neal Adams. I think it's Neal Adams, Denny O'Neil. I'm not sure. And this is your first Christmas musical Batman story, right? So Batman helps these carolers, right? And people getting dolls. And then Batman goes to help caroling here. We have a nice sort of Christmassy story. And writer is Mike Friedrich, right? So I was wrong about Denny O'Neil. But we had a nice story where Batman goes off and carols with people and a night notation from all the DC people. So there you go. Said it was a versus. I'm not going to tell you one I picked because they're both great. They're both great. But I remember this. I've always wanted to do this one. but I really didn't expect the DC one. I bought that so many years ago, possibly just for the cover, and the art inside is just killer. Spin rack out.